Welcome, travelers, to This Week in Adventures League. I'm Hannah the Lorekeeper, and I'm here to tell you to be careful about the otherworldly patron you choose, because it can have quite the impact. This Wednesday, my friends and I played the Tier 2 module, In Dire Need, the next part of the Storm King's Thunder campaign that continues where last week's story left off. You don't need to watch the last episode, as these modules are standalone adventures, but if you want the bigger picture, it might be helpful. This week's party was the smallest one you can have for an AL adventure, with only 3 players. Me playing my warlock Atiesh and his raven, as far as you know, familiar named Khadgar, a snooty dragonborn paladin named Greator, and a moon elf druid named Niara. They had been staying in the town of Stadwick in the Heartsvale region, when an agent of the Lord's Alliance named Seer contacted our party for aid, bringing us to an exhausted dwarf lady she was tending to. The dwarves were on a routine military training exercise when they were beset by ogres and trapped in an ancient giant burial site, and we had to get there before the ogres' reinforcements arrived in 2 days to finish off the rest of the platoon. At the same time, the burial site also had a stone slab that might be the key to unlocking the previously forgotten rune magic of the giants, so we were tasked with getting a rubbing of this tablet to bring back to Seer. So we set off on our quest, trekking through the sleet and snow, and coming across 2 white lumps sitting in the snow. While the druid and paladin cautiously examined the lumps from afar, Atiesh sent a flaming strike hurtling down onto them, revealing they were 2 snowy owl bears. The fight was a quick one, and we got off without too much damage, though Khadgar did tank a hit from the owl bears that would have killed a normal raven. But Khadgar is no normal raven. We continued on with our quest, and on our way we came to some thin ice that cracked under our feet. While the druid was able to jump out of the way, the paladin and I fell down the hole. But lucky for us, we both knew the spell Misty Step, and used it to teleport 30 feet down this 40-foot hole, only taking a fraction of the damage we would have otherwise. And when we were done falling, our druid companion turned into a giant spider and helped us both climb back up. Now that's what I call teamwork. By nightfall, we had come to the valley where the ogres had set up a crude camp in front of the giant burial site where the hapless dwarves lay trapped. So we came up with a plan. I took an Eldritch Evocation to telepathically see through Khadgar's eyes, so he turns invisible, no one questions the raven with invisibility powers for some reason, and flies over the ogre camp to get inside the burial site, while our druid casts Pass Without a Trace, a spell that increases the stealth of any creature you can see within range, and yourself, and sneaks past the ogres to get to the exhausted dwarves. After getting the rubbing from the slab that they came for, the druid and Khadgar convinced the dwarves to follow our druid and sneak out under the cover of darkness with a second Pass Without a Trace spell, slipping off into the night on the way back to Stadwick. But of course, nothing is that easy, and on our trek to town with the surviving dwarves trailing behind us, we stumble upon the ogre's reinforcements on the road, a hill giant and 2 winter wolves. Roll for initiative! I go first and cast Wall of Fire on top of the wolves, doing some nice fire damage and forcing the giant to have to run through the fire if he wanted to get to us. Then the wolves go to attack the druid and the paladin taking the brunt of the force. Our druid then turned into a big brown bear and faced off against the wolves with some Animal Planet action. During the fight, our paladin went unconscious, and the giant came after Atiesh, the frail warlock who is the only one in between the giant and the exhausted dwarves. Khadgar swooped around to give me advantage on my attacks, and the giant swung and hit the raven with his club. If we had the time to rest, Khadgar would have been able to barely survive, but we had not. So, as Khadgar fell from the sky, his limp body hit the snow, but where there should have been the imprint of a raven, there was instead the silhouette of a devilish little creature, and a puff of smoke as Khadgar traveled back to the dimension from which he came upon his death. He was an imp familiar all along! After the dungeon master took a moment to go, "Oh, now it makes sense," we then avenged Khadgar by taking out the giant and the winter wolves, with only a couple dwarf casualties during the fight. The trek back was uneventful, but when we did make it back to town, we got gold, praise, and time to resummon my favorite annoying little familiar. It's tough being Khadgar! For our efforts, we gained 2 advancement checkpoints, 2 treasure points, and we unlocked the item for this module. Well, sort of. The magic item, as written, is a +1 Mithril Splint Mail, but this was changed in the new season to awarding either a Mithril Splint Mail or a +1 Splint Mail. Either way, a powerful treasure to own once we get enough money to buy it. So time and dwarves well saved. Next week is another piece of the Storm King's Thunder journey, but I think it's about time I unleashed another character into Tier 2 for the very first time. So join me next time as I regale exactly what happened this week in Adventures League.